Good morning. Today we are gathered here to both celebrate and bid farewell to a great man of great stature, our loving dad, husband, and Sokoro to his grandchildren. He was Bwana PC, Mheshimiwa, Mzee to many Kenyans, and Omugaka Nyambuche to the Abagusi community. Today, we gather on this ground where he participated in athletics as a young man. We stand below the Nyachae'S, where he went for his early schooling. On these grounds, where his voice boomed as he called for the love and the unity among the Abagusi community and Kenyans at large. His story is long. However, I shall share a synopsis of this story. Simeon Nyachae'S was born in the month of February 1932 at Nyozia village in the then Nyaribari location, which at that time was both Nyaribari Masaba and Nyaribari Chache constituencies combined. He was born to the late Senior Chief Musa Nyandusi Ayako and the late Mama Paulina Nyandusi. He started school at Nyaguta sector in 1940 alongside his two elder brothers, Solomon Misiani and James Oiruria. The school was about 10 kilometers from Nyozia, and to help the three of them walk back and forth to school, their father, Chief Nyandusi, got somebody to walk them across and especially assist them to cross the rivers. In 1942, the trio were moved to Nyachae'S Adventist School near Kisii town, and they stayed in the home of a relative, the late Chief Joram Getugi, near Nyachae'S School. From the said home, the three would easily go to school from Monday to Friday. Early Friday afternoon, they would walk the 12 kilometers from Nyachae'S back to Nyozia before the Sabbath, so that they could be in the Sabbath, and on Sunday morning they would go back to Nyachae'S. Later, he graduated to Kereri Intermediate School and eventually Kisii Government School, which today we know as Kisii High School. While in Kisii High School, he became a great sportsman. His triple jump record in Nyanza was not broken for 12 years. And he was also in the school's team for athletics with a specialty in sprinting and also playing hockey. Upon completion of his studies from Kisii Government School, he applied to Kamagambo Adventist College to train as a teacher. While waiting to join college, Mzee taught on a pro bono basis at Kegati Primary School near his home. Later on, he was employed as a revenue clerk at Keumbu District Officer's Office. In 1957, he was jointly sponsored by his father and the African District Council to study public administration at Torquay College in the United Kingdom. After returning to Kenya in 1958, he briefly worked as an African Assistant Administrative Officer in Kuala in current Siaya County. But he quit after 3 months and joined the East African Breweries as one of the first black managers. However, his father was not happy with that, and he did not want him to work outside government, and therefore arranged for some elders to compel him to return to government. He obeyed and returned to government. He then joined the Jean School, which in present day is called the Kenya Institute of Administration, and studied law and public administration. He passed with a distinction. Following this, Honorable Nyachae'S was then posted as a district officer, first in Kangundo Division, secondly in Machakos Central, and later Makueni. At that time, the division was actually the entire county of Makueni. While in Makueni, he was trained and subsequently served as a first-class magistrate in the afternoons. He would give sentences of up to 6 months in jail for those found guilty. Old men from Makueni told us back then that he was a very fair magistrate. Once again, he was sent by the government to the United Kingdom for further studies. This time he went to Churchill College, a constituent college of the University of Cambridge. On returning to Kenya, he was posted to Thompson Falls, which is the current day Nyahururu, to be the first African District Commissioner of Nyandarua. This was just before Kenya became a republic. Cabinet Minister Tom Mboya, who was in charge of the Republic Day celebrations, selected him from 41 district commissioners to coordinate the entire arrangements of the Republic Day celebrations. He must have done an impressive job, considering immediately thereafter, the head of the public service called him and told him, Mzee Kenyatta, the president wants to see you. And as soon as he got there, President Kenyatta appointed him the first provincial commissioner of Nairobi, which was then known as an extra provincial district. Thereafter, he was transferred to Rift Valley and later to Central Province in the same capacity. When he arrived in Nakuru to take over as provincial commissioner, the outgoing PC, Mr. Onyango Josia, was shocked at his age. He was too young. He was only 32 years. He could not understand why the government would send a 32-year-old to be in charge of Kenya's largest province. However, he accepted and he handed over to him, and he began his job as a provincial commissioner. Honorable Nyachae worked as the provincial commissioner in Central Province between 1971 and 78. And upon the passing away of our first president, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, he was appointed a permanent secretary in charge of cabinet affairs by the late President Daniel Arap Moi. Some of his highlights in the civil service include the introduction of district focus for rural development. This was a government strategy that sought to involve the people at district level to participate in development based on their specific needs. Many people believe that it is the district focus for development, focus for rural development that evolved into the current devolution system. He also introduced the unique colored vehicle registration plates we see on government vehicles, which belong to government institutions and parastatals and the county governments. This helped to reduce the misuse of government vehicles that did not have GK plates. He eventually retired at the peak of the civil service as the chief secretary and head of the civil service. Honorable Nyachae joined politics in 1992 and served as the member of parliament for Nyaribari Chache for 15 years. During this time as a member of parliament, he donated his entire salary to the constituency's bursary kitty. Through his donation of grade cows to his constituents, he started a program for many families to start keeping dairy cows. While he served the people of Nyaribari Chache, each year he would use part of his wheat sale proceeds to purchase medicine for the health centers in the constituency. Honorable Nyachae also served as a minister in the ministries of agriculture, water, roads, energy, and finance. Dad was a shrewd businessman and a farmer. He started off by growing parathyrum and maize at his farm in Manaret Scheme, Sotik. He would personally plow using a tractor from 3 p.m. to 7, while his driver Mwangi, the tractor driver, did the morning shift. Later on, he farmed sugarcane at Songo, which is at the border of Kisumu and Nandi County. He also started farming in Mount Narok and parts of Narok County and became one of the largest wheat farmers in the country. His first business was a tea kiosk, which he co-owned with his cousin Magara Ondera in Nyantrago Market, Kisii, where he also started a portion mill. Around that time, he also started a bakery that would produce 16 loaves of bread for sale, which he did on his bicycle after work. After he left Keumbu at the railway office, he would go and pick the bread, put the bread on his bicycle and sell it. His passion for bakery business grew through the years into factories we see today. In association with business partners later, he started flour milling in Nakuru, Nairobi, Kisumu, Mombasa. He also initiated and did many other businesses like banking, insurance, sawmilling, and indeed, one time he had a matatu that was plying the Kisii town, Kibirigo route. He served as a chairman of the Wheat Board of Kenya, the National Cereals and Produce Board, and also sat on the board of the then Egerton College. Honorable Nyachae'S family was what kept him motivated. Despite all the government work and business ventures, he always had time for his family. He carefully reviewed and discussed each and every child's report, consulted with teachers, and instilled discipline in all his children. He never spared the rod, nor did he spare his belt. He would remove it, and on any child who was getting off track. But I must confess that it is mostly the boys who got the lashes from the belt. He had a soft spot for the ladies, but he would still reprimand them. Those boys, and it was only boys, a few of them, whom he felt that the crime was a little bit more serious, he would then use his boxing prowess to deal with them. But I'm not naming anybody, so. Honorable Nyachae derived joy in supporting any of his children wanting to pursue further education. He was a natural and wise leader of the greater Nyandusi family. Mzee regularly sat down with his family and discussed the importance of sticking together to aid prosperity. Dad loved country music. He passed this love for country music to all of us without exception. Some of our greatest moments were listening to Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, Don Williams, Cherry Pride, Nana Musukuri, and Demis Roussos, among others. On a radio cassette, as Dad drove his Mercedes. He drove it at a very high speed usually. He was a very fast driver, and there were no speed guns in those days. He loved to drive fast on a good road. In fact, it was not rare for him, on occasions, he had a driver called Kenoka whom he had from the time he was a PC in Central all the way until he retired. If they were on a good road and Kenoka was driving slowly, he would ask him, Kenoka, hiyo accelerator imeharibika ama imekuwa namna gani? And Kenoka would do the needful. But on a good road. Dad was diagnosed with cancer in 2012. He underwent treatment both locally and abroad. He bravely fought the disease. On Monday, 1st p.m., he passed on. He was preceded by his parents, Musa and Paulina Nyandusi, our mothers, Esther and Drusilla. He has left behind our two mothers, Mother and Grace, many children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Dad, you fought the good fight. Fare thee well, Dad, till we meet again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike, for that very good eulogy. Now we invite